You want to know how Taurus has experienced something as simple as eating? Listen to this. As I ate the oysters with their strong taste of the sea and their faint metallic taste that cold wine washed away, leaving only the sea taste and the succulent texture, as I drank their cold liquid from each shell and washed it down with the crisp taste of the wine, I lost the empty feeling and began to feel happy and to make plans. It's sexy. Hi, Taurus Suns. Hi, welcome back to my channel. This is Mina with Midnight Zero Astrology, and I'm so happy to talk about Taurus Sun today. So, if you haven't already, hit subscribe so we can keep our conversation going, guys. I love talking to you. Let me get into the structure of this video. So today we're going to start with talking about the basic concepts of Taurus Sun. Then we're going to dive into the characteristics, the positive and the negative. Then we will discuss what Taurus Sun is growing into. And then after that, I will give you my personal commentary, some inspirational quotes, and some music recommendations. So if that sounds like something you would love, please stay the whole time and hit like on this video. Alright, you guys, let's start with the basic meaning of what the sun means in our birth chart. Your sun is your biggest, brightest star. It's an energy that's supposed to be very loud and directly associated with you. People are supposed to see this energy and admire you for it. Because of this, it's a huge pathway to happiness, fame, fortune, all that good stuff. So your sun is in Taurus. What does that mean for you? It means that your sun is ruled by Venus, which is the planet of beauty and balance and just everything easy and pleasing to our brains and to our hearts, relating to others socially. All that good pleasurable stuff in life is Venus. And you are not in a cardinal Venus like Libra. You are a fixed earthy Venus as represented through Earth. And I like to think of this as firm pleasures, firm standards, firm beliefs and values. Firm everything, tastes, everything to do with Venus is very firm and steady in the Taurus, whereas with Libra, it's often rearranged depending on the group it's trying to please, which makes you a very indulgent Venus, you guys. You are double the feminine energy because Taurus is a yin sign and it's paired with Venus, which is a super feminine planet. So you are like a double chocolate cake, like super indulgent and delicious. Fixed is Fixed is not a movable energy, so this is like a very personalized Venus that isn't going anywhere. You're not going to rearrange for people like Libra will. You're staying true to your beliefs and are firm in them, which is why your tarot card is the Hierophant, which is pretty sweet. The Hierophant is a very spiritual card. It's about sticking to your values and the spiritual side of conforming, which is a big lesson for Taurus because of that fixed, stubborn quality of you guys. And you're also represented by the bull. The bull is your mascot, which the bull is a very earthy, sturdy. It has a very strong body, which Tauruses do have strong bodies. It's a very earthy and peaceful animal. It's a very kind beast, and it only gets rattled if people mess with it too much. It's usually content staying in its own little piece of land, not bothering too many people. It likes to have, it likes to know what's theirs, which is a big thing about Taurus. They want to know what's theirs and what's other people. And like I said, you won't get shown the horns unless you prod and prod and prod, because Taurus is exhausted from being an Aries. It has evolved from Aries and is very divorced from all things Mars. It just is so tired and wants to sit and be that peaceful bull like Ferdinand. I love that movie and book. And just enjoy the roses, the scent of the roses. You guys, it's almost like Taurus Sun people, if you think of the glyph of Venus and you think someone just stuck it in the ground because it almost looks like a flower, imagine like a Taurus Sun just picked Venus up from the ground and just ate her. And because of that, you are endowed with all of her senses. You can have the sight of Venus, you have the taste of Venus, you have the touch of Venus, you have the smell of Venus, you have the just everything, all the five senses you have of the goddess herself, which makes you experience pleasure, but your big pleasure, you love pleasure as a Taurus Sun, but it makes you experience everything good at a super heightened level, which is very special about you guys. Sitting opposite from Scorpio, which is very important. This is a huge axis of power, obsession, and sexuality. Everyone is so keen to be obsessed with Scorpio because they are super magnetic people. Their magneticism is coming from their really deep souls. Whereas with you guys, your magneticism is all tied in Venus, and your body's just radiated just as a Scorpio, but in a very different way. And you both have this like X-ray vision. You know, Scorpio can see through your soul and is very Martian because it's ruled by Mars. So it's about obtaining power and things that it loves and obsessed with those things. And oftentimes obsessed with metaphorical death, preventing it and going through it. Whereas you guys are just super obsessed with living and just indulging in everything that Earth has to offer you. You love to live and you want to live to the max, very maximized level of living, and you don't budge for that because y'all are both fixed. So let's talk about some characteristics of Taurus Suns. Let's start with the positive. Taurus Suns, like I said, have very firm values. And that's different from Taurus Sun to Taurus Sun. One Taurus Sun could have a completely different set of values. It's not a universal thing because we're all different. But they stick to their set of values. It's something very spiritual about them. And I like to call them little Buddhas because there is a wisdom that only Taurus possesses. It's a very special type of wisdom that just understands deeply that we're only alive for so long. And because we're only alive for the set amount of time, it doesn't want to mess with anything Mars. It wants to just fully indulge in everything Venus because Earth is a producer of things Venus. So there's a wisdom in that of seeing this beauty in life. Taurus has the eyes of Venus. It can see the beauty, raw earthly beauty and everything. You know, that's a part of their X-ray vision I was talking about. They can look at someone and they can see beyond all the camouflage, the earthly camouflage, the nice clothes, the perfumes, the makeup. They can see your raw beauty. They can sense your natural pheromones like more than other people can because we're all humans and we can do that. And if they like you, they're gonna see that in you. And it just apply that to possessions and everything. A Taurus has this magic touch. They can touch physical, those dogs don't stop. They can touch physical objects and just know if they're of good quality or not. Take them to the Goodwill, you'll see this. They can just touch something and just know. It's so cool. Very predictable and habitual people in a way. And really every earth sign is habitual to a degree. Taurus knows what it likes. It knows, and it doesn't need anyone else to tell them. They're very familiar with themselves on that Venus plane. They really use their physical bodies as a pleasure vehicle, but they want to take advantage of being able to have pleasure in life's little moments. They're very slice of life. I don't know if you guys have watched slice of life movies. They're basically just movies that beautify every single detail about life, from the insects that are singing at night, from the ambience, the amount of sunlight, the golden hour, like it just heightens everything. It kind of gives you a glimpse into how Taurus Suns see the world from that super Venus standpoint. Like I said, they have these senses of Venus and they are vibing when they're in these moments. Like they have like this vibing thing going on, almost like a meditative state. The word that I love to associate with Taurus is oasis. Like close your eyes and think of your perfect paradise, and every element of this paradise sets your senses on fire. It brings you so much pleasure. That is how Tauruses go about building their surroundings, is the concept of oasis. So throughout their lives, they're gathering certain tastes, possessions, skills even, and platonic and romantic partners that align with their oasis, their vibe and values. So if they accept you into this as an important person, that's what it's basically saying, that you're important. They are assigning you a value and they're accepting that you do align with their Venus-y vibe, their tranquility, and you also align with their core fixed earthy values. And because they're accepting you into that oasis, that very intimate spot in their lives, they are assigning you a value, because when Taurus Sun loves something, it means that it has a value and that they see that value. And at times it can lead you to believe that, you know, you're part of their lives, your possession and their oasis, which sounds terrible, but like I said, it just merely means that they're assigning you a value and they're assigning you love, basically. And with that love, they will give you great commitment, great loyalty. They're very reliable people once they have committed to you. So that with Scorpio and Taurus, there is a lot of possessiveness and you know, they just like what's theirs, and they like the whole world to know what is theirs and to know that there's a firm boundary between what's mine and what's yours. Taurus Suns are also very in tune with their physical bodies, the uniqueness of it, what makes their physical bodies the maximum comfort, from the way certain fabrics touch their skin and make them feel throughout the day. If it keeps them hot or cold, like whatever their physical preference is, you know, to products they use in their hair. They want their hair to feel a certain way. They want their scalp to feel a certain way. Products they use on their skin. They want to be the maximum physical comfort, or at least their personal level of preference. Their physical comfort is a huge personal priority for Taurus Suns and should be respected and kept up. They're often associated with the adjective traditional, which I like to think of traditional in terms of their earthly stability needs rather than, you know, romantic values or friendship values. Like, I think that can vary from Taurus to Taurus. But I do think the most two traditional things about a Taurus is their deep need for traditional earthly stability. They need somewhere to sleep. They need to know there'll always be food to eat. They need to know that they have a steady job, a steady paycheck. Those things are very important to their lives, and it's a very deep-seated need in them. And this highlights how much they value comfort and stability. It is a must-have for a Taurus Sun. And to achieve that stability and comfort, they will put up with what they don't want to do, which is everything to do with Mars, what they've ran away from Aries. And every job, if you think about it, has an element of Mars, because it requires us to do things we don't like to do, and we're not always comfortable. We're not always in our Venus element physically at a job. And Taurus does not like this. As long as a Taurus Sun will obtain earthly stability in exchange for them putting up with Mars, they will go through the discomfort. And because of that, they will value greatly anything they gain from work. Very predictable, habitual people, and this is all about keeping that comfort zone, that oasis going. They'd rather deal with what is known than what is not known, and they have their routines, and everything's just maximized in their day to bring them comfort and pleasure. Now let's talk about some of the negative characteristics associated with Taurus Suns. And it's important to remember that usually negative characteristics are tied with the most positive ones. They go hand in hand, like light and dark. So the first one I want to talk about is how Taurus Suns can be very change resistant. And that goes with what I was saying, that they like a certain level of comfort, and change is very, can rattle that comfort and stability that they need and desire throughout the day. Even if it's like a natural disaster or something that really can't be helped, I'm not saying they won't deal with it. They are very strong people, but it just rattles them and affects them initially. Like, their initial feelings and reactions are quite strong in those situations. They also can be inflexible. Like, they take their commitments very seriously to their people that they, value in their lives. And if people break plans with them, even if it's for a totally acceptable reason, they can get initially very rattled and upset, because that's like you're denying them a pleasurable part of their day that they were looking forward to, and they see you as something valuable. So it's just, their initial reactions can be strong, but like I said, they're very reasonable, mature people. They will come around. It's just that initial reaction is just kind of jarring for most people. Another thing is that they are very averse to Mars. Like I said, they've left that behind with Aries, and what this What this can translate to is they are very averse to arguing, which arguing is a big part of Mars, like aggressive arguing. They will, oddly enough, put off doing such, to the point where they will just explode and have a bull rampage, and it goes against what they are trying to build, which is a calm oasis, because they kind of are awkward with dealing with that angry, argumentative part of Mars. So it kind of comes out like that in a way. Another negative trait of Taurus Suns is that they can be very overindulgent in anything they like. So, spending money on Venusian things, eating too much, anything pleasurable with their five senses, like overdoing it. And this, oddly enough, can go against their values that they hold so dear to their heart, their stability, and their earthly bodies. Like the three things that they love the most can get heavily negatively affected from them overindulging. And their body, they do assign a high value to their body, but where they can fall short is just overindulging and opting for convenience, which is also like a rebellion against Mars. So a lot of times Taurus Suns will do something unhealthy. Let's just say they will eat something unhealthy if it's closer to their home and easier for them to obtain, instead of spending the time to cook themselves a nice healthy meal. And you can extend that to a lot of different situations where they opt for convenience and kind of aid in destroying their physical bodies, or if it's nothing to do with their body, they're destroying their stability somehow when they're just heavily rebelling against the healthy parts of Mars, basically. Another thing, they can be a little bit too tied to their possessions in an emotional way, even if they don't have to work for them. Just because they're a sign that understands value, they can look at people and objects alike and just see the value of them. That's their superpower. And because of that, they can be just like too possessive of these, especially material goods that we can't hold on to after death. What is Taurus moving into? Taurus is moving into the very nimble, airy, and changeable, very accepting of change sign of Gemini. Gemini laughs things off and moves on above everything. It does not stay stuck, and Taurus Suns can stay stuck sometimes, and because they don't like to change, they're very averse to it. And Gemini is asking you, Taurus Suns, to have a healthier relationship with change, because after all, change occurs in nature all the time. Think of day and night, think of the seasons, think of volcanoes erupting. There's all types of natural changes that come and go, and there's beauty and there's dark and light in all of those cases, and we should be very flexible and adaptable when it comes to that. There's a quote that kind of reminds me of this, like in Mulan. I think they said, no matter how hard the wind howls, the mountain does not budge. And there is beauty in that, because that's how firm Taurus is in their values and all their convictions. But just because something in your oasis is not going right all the time, or something unpleasant is pushing you towards dealing with Martian things, doesn't mean it's the end of the world. And also, maybe deviating from your routine a little bit, because Gemini is very eclectic in that way. It's always trying new things. And imagine your senses are already on fire. You have the senses of Venus, the goddess herself, experiencing everything on such a high level. Imagine if you would apply that to new things. Like, you could fall in love all over again, and Gemini wants you to keep falling in love like that. A quote that I really love about change is this Tibetan quote that says, "Be like the tree, change your leaves and keep your roots, change your ideas and keep your principles." So this is saying, Taurus Suns, you can keep your personal convictions close to your heart and embrace change at the same time. It doesn't, one does not mean that you get rid of the other. You can merge the two. And, maybe just because you're trying something new doesn't mean that your values have to change. Just because you're willing to consider a new idea or way of doing something doesn't mean you're not who you are. Because you're going to try to adapt a faster speed, because Gemini is a faster speed, and accepts change doesn't mean that you're going to lose your sense of self, Taurus Suns. You can still be your very honorable, you know, value-oriented self. You can keep those fixed values, but you just take those with you to new destinations, to new adventures. You know, you keep that with you, and the fact that you keep that with you is really saying, hey, your oasis doesn't always have to be your terrarium, your outside of yourself physical environment. You can create a oasis inside. You know, your mind can be that oasis, and Gemini, it's all about the mind because it's ruled by Mercury. So I really think that Taurus Suns need to be pushed into pushing that oasis inside of their bodies, which might feel weird to them. And that way, you guys, you are bringing that calm to any stressful situation because you are the immovable oasis yourself. And I really love this Buddha quote that says that true sanctuary comes from within. It doesn't come from other people. So you guys can't depend on other factors outside of yourself to bring you that oasis and tranquility. You know, you need to make sure that's within you always. You don't have to lose that part of you. You just have to make it mobile, like Gemini is asking you to. So now we can go into my personal commentary. You guys, I really love Taurus Suns because that's my North Node sign. So I naturally just really admire everything it stands for, because a lot of times I can just feel so salty and like really dark and just really comfortable with everything that Scorpio is comfortable with, like comfortable with all the ugly things in life and more comfortable with loss and sadness. And my Taurus North Node is really calling me to be obsessively passionate about life. And Taurus Suns kind of push me towards that, and I really appreciate that about them. Like, they make me feel like I'm living in a Miyazaki movie, and I can feel all the cicadas singing and the sunshine hitting the trees a certain way and the wind howling a certain melody, and everything feels alive. Every bite of food's a new experience. Like, it's just pretty magical to me, and I really appreciate all my Taurus Suns in my life a lot. And let's go on to my music selection. So there's a channel on YouTube called Chill Beats, and it has like this anime girl and a cat, and it's just like moving its tail and she's studying, and it just has the chillest music. And I feel like I know a lot of Taurus Suns and Moons who love that station, and it is so chill. It really is relaxing and an experience. I'm gonna link it below. And I also think the GORILLAZ is like a huge Taurus fan. It's so chill. And I'm just going to be linking like a ton of music down. I have a lot of Taurus picks, you guys. But one of my favorites is a song that says, if we had more time, we can live forever. And that just captures the beauty of Taurus for me. Like, just loving life so much and just wanting more and more and more of it. It's just beautiful. It's very wise. And that's why I think you're my little Buddhas, because I do feel like you have such a magical common sense and wisdom about you that I will always admire. You guys, I had so much fun doing this video. Please talk to me in the comments. Leave me your music suggestions. Tell me anything you want to say. I love talking with you, and I will see you in the next one. Mina telling you bye.